2005 Hurricane Katrina bears down on New Orleans. YouTube goes live for the first time. 50 Cent in the Game were on top of the Billboard charts. Also in 2005, Nissan brought in a redesign of the Frontier, and it took over 15 years to bring this new design out to the market. So was this decade and a half wait worth it? Let's find out. Also guys, stay to the end. I have a bunch of your questions I'm gonna answer here, but let's get right into the walk around. Nissan's redesigned the new Frontier looks incredible. I've even seen some of the lower trims. What you have in front of us is the top line Pro-4X, comes in at over $45,000 for this midsize pickup truck. But let's get into this specific design of the Pro-4X and what it brings to the table here. We have a blacked out matte grille with a red Nissan logo, looks extra sick. You see the camera buried inside there for the 360 camera. On the bottom, we have red tow hooks. We also have an aluminum skid plate underneath, but there are also two more steel skid plates on this Pro-4X model. There's also an electronic rear locking differential in the back, and we also have Bilstein shocks. Bilstein shocks that we see oftentimes in Mazda products. These meaty tires look excellent. They're connected to 17-inch wheels, 265 by 70s on the Hankooks. They definitely look the part here on the Pro-4X, and we also have that Pro-4X badging on the rear tailgate. We also have those red Nissan logos inside of those 17-inch wheels. The Pro-4X model also comes with these nice wheel arches, fender flares, fender flare covers. They have a million different names. I never know what to call them, but they look good here. We also have running boards at the bottom, and my favorite accessory probably on this specific model are these Ute inspired bars at the top. They come in around $1,000, and my God, they just look so cool. No other truck in the market is doing that I'm aware of here in the United States. It looks like it's plucked straight out of Australia's outback. Sweeping around to the back, we have a little stool to help you get inside the tailgate. Frontier, of course, stamped on the tailgate with a red Nissan logo to complete the Pro-4X treatment. Also that last Pro-4X badge on the back. Unfortunately, the tailpipe leaves a lot to be desired, but at least we get that nice spare tire under there as well. Opening the tailgate, really soft, controlled lowering. We have a sprayed in bed lining. It looks and feels the part. We have this intricate railing system as well as these cleats that help you tie your things down in here. We have that sliding rear window, and we also have an LED light at the top to help illuminate the bed. You also have an AC 120 volt back here with 400 watts power output, so you could use this as a mobile office or to power your power tools most of you would be doing. We also have an additional bed lights here on each side. Underneath the hood is the standard 3.8 liter V6 made with a 9-speed automatic. Definitely step up from the 5-speed of the old Frontier. We have 310 horsepower and 281 pound-feet of torque. Nissan continues the excellent design from the exterior with the interior here, starting with the steering wheel. It's really high quality leather. We have a little bit of gloss black on it, and we have some controls on the left that took me a while to get used to. The arrows that go left and right, I'm used to those controlling the radio stations, but they actually control the 7-inch MID behind the steering wheel. To control your radio presets, it's actually the up and down arrow on the steering wheel. Cruise control on here as well, and of course the Pro-4X continues that red and black Nissan logo here on the steering wheel. It is tilting, but it is not telescopic. To combat that though, luckily Nissan has put a bottom handle on here so I can just rest my hand in the middle, because it's not the most comfortable to keep on the top since I can't telescope it towards me. So after 8,200 miles that are showing on the clock, this vehicle doesn't show any sounds or signs of rattling or creaks or noises of that nature, even though there's a lot of hard touch plastic in here. The soft touch is pretty much limited to the armrest as well as this portion of the dash in front of the passenger. And since this model is loaded to the gills, we do have the Fender sound system in here. It is a Panasonic company, similar to what the ELS audio is in an Acura. It doesn't sound anything like the ELS. Unfortunately, when you push this sound system to 75% and beyond, you start hearing the panels on the door rattle. The subwoofer in the back does sound good. I don't get any distortion from that, but I definitely get distortion from these speakers up here in the doors. Heated steering wheel, heated front seats. We have 4 USBs in this vehicle. I love having knobs for the climate control. I also love Nissan's new touchscreens and dual knob setup. Unfortunately, these knobs feel really cheap. There's like no resistance to them. I don't know how well these are going to hold up. Also, we have 360 camera on this model. Unfortunately, that 360 camera quality is pretty terrible. We have a 12 volt on the dash. We also have a 12 volt underneath the armrest here with a decent amount of storage capacity inside the armrest. The vents in here, although they're a little loud, they're extremely strong. I never feel like I need to push more than 1 to 2 bars, but it goes all the way up 7 bars. And so that should definitely help the passengers in the back stay cool.
There's no internet connection at the moment.
That's fine. No panel roof in here, but the standard sunroof does a good job. The shifter in here feels like it's pulled straight out of the Sentra SR grade that I test drove last week. And we also have 2 additional oh crap bars located around the shifter if you guys are doing some extreme off-roading. Lastly, there's a little storage piece on top of the dash with a rubber mat insert for your additional items. These doors sound like you're closing a tank. It is so insulated, not only in the front, but also in the back. I typically don't see that sort of level of insulation and quality of the doors and their closings unless it's a luxury vehicle. And even then, most of them don't sound as good and feel as good as these doors closing. Get into the back seat. There's a nice handle here to pull yourself inside. There aren't handles in the front seat to pull yourself inside, so that's kind of unfortunate. I guess you can use the steering wheel if you're the driver. In this Pro-4X, we also have really high quality leather seats. And here in the back, that leather feels excellent. Not only if I need to press my knees in there, which I don't, I have plenty of leg room here at 6'1", sitting behind myself at 6'1". We also have 2 map pockets. I mentioned the USBs. We also have that plug-in back here. 400 watts max for power output to your laptops, to your tools. And headroom is actually really good. Nissan has a little cutout here to expand the roof, even though we have a sunroof in here. You can fold these seats down, you can fold them up. There's additional storage hidden under this passenger seat over here, so you could hide your firearms or whatever else you wanted to put under there. So I love the functionality of this back seat. We also have that slide open window in the back in this model. As I back out of the review location, you can just see how low quality this camera is. It's unfortunate it didn't get that upgraded camera system from the new Rogue. And I also forgot to mention there's Android Auto and Apple CarPlay in here. It works through either of the USB ports. It does not have wireless, which I'm totally okay with. It does have wireless charging, which to me is kind of like a unnecessary thing when you have to wire in your phone for Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. This pickup truck does not have any driving modes, and I'm totally okay with that because it is very responsive regardless of not having those modes. It'll rev all the way to 6,000 RPM happily, easily gets this truck up into traffic, up to speed with traffic very quickly. And getting into the brakes here, I'm gonna get on them a little bit late to stop this heavy pickup truck. And now going from about 40, oh, it feels excellent. The brake has a real good feel to it, real good resistance, and great linearity as you go through the pedal. Very happy with the brakes here in the Pro-4X. There's no dive, no noticeable dive either as you get hard onto the brakes. It feels awesome. Now that I'm going about 60 miles an hour, we do have a good amount of wind noise coming through. Feels like it's mainly around the mirrors. I have very little road noise coming through the tires and through the underbelly of the vehicle. I'm very happy about that. It's rated at 19 miles per gallon, but on the way out here when I was going about 55 miles an hour, I was easily getting 25 miles per gallon, but in town you're going to be getting under 20, so on average around 20 is probably what you're going to be getting, which at this time of the recording, gas was like 220 or 420. YOLO for anyways. Yes, gas is not cheap right now, and it's going to hurt this pickup truck. And when you look down the road for its competition, we don't know when the Tacoma is going to get redesigned, but the way things are going for Toyota, they're hybridizing everything. So if Toyota could come out with a Tacoma that gets 30 miles per gallon, that could put some pressure on Nissan to do something about this thirsty but powerful and capable V6. I'm going about 55. I'm going to hammer it down. Once you're up to speed, it doesn't go anywhere real quick. Look at that Land Cruiser. Oh my gosh. Is that a J40? Oh my gosh. What was that? Anyways, acceleration once you're up to speed is not great, and luckily the engine noise isn't that like intrusive either. I'm going to hammer it again. Yeah, I feel like I still hear mainly wind noise when the pedal is down, which is surprising that you don't hear this V6 come to life. It's pretty subdued. So cruise control set, radar cruise control in here, of course. Now I don't have lane keep assist, but I do have lane departure alert that vibrates the steering wheel. There's also a pre-collision system in here that's helped me a couple times thanks to the awful drivers and snowbirds down here in South Florida. It gives you a loud beep to wake you up to make sure you're stopping in time. Sometimes I hate those systems because they're overly aggressive and they warn you way too far ahead of time, but here in the Nissan Frontier, I feel like it's a good balance of safety and annoyance. And I'm just really comfortable in these leather seats. And I know most Nissan Frontiers are not gonna have leather seats, but these ones, if you do decide to spring for it, I would say are worth the money. Now, I'm always a little scared to test four-wheel drive switchover on the fly. I don't know, maybe it's just me growing up in the 80s and 90s that it kind of freaks me out, but I'm gonna just flip the switch here to 4 high, real time, currently unavailable. Oh no, okay, no, it is available, but it kicked me out of cruise control when I put it into 4 high. So let's see if I can put it back in cruise control. Interestingly, cruise control is unavailable when you're in 4 high. So I'm gonna take it out of 4 high. That's something I had no idea was gonna happen. And now I'll try cruise control again, and it's set back at 60. So you can't do cruise control in 4 high, which may be annoying for some of you guys who need to have 4-wheel drive at higher speeds. It's not really necessary. Blind spot monitor as well, I forgot to mention that. And some of you might be interested in the cornering capability, but I have some traffic here and I'm gonna try to time it just right. All right, here we go. Get into the gas, throw it around the corner. I just love how this pickup truck feels in the corners. It's just a little bit of body roll, but it feels so planted and sturdy. We're gonna do a little off-roading here. It's not that extreme where I live. I don't have any mountains. I do have some sand at times that makes things really sketchy, but we're just going to, I just flipped it into 4-wheel drive on the fly, which is nice to do. But yeah, it's not really that extreme off-roading. I just heard some stuff hit the underbelly, the underpants. You have 3 of them in this vehicle, so it's nice to have that, I guess. And I have no idea where this road goes. I have not done any off-roading in recent memory, and I don't know the best places to go off-roading here in South Florida. I know there are some amazing spots, really sketchy spots with sugar stand, which is like a powder. And you can get yourself stuck in it really easily. But yeah, I mean, I obviously don't need 4-wheel drive for what I'm doing right now, but when you have it, you might as well pop it into 4-wheel drive. It looks like someone has driven through here. The grass looks a little bit shorter. Not sure where it goes. It looks like it heads to a gravel road to a cement road. So there's my extreme off-roading portion in the Nissan Frontier PRO-4X. Whoa! All right, lightning round with the questions. EP is asking definitely how the suspension feels. Any major body roll cornering over 55 miles an hour? Is the cabin quiet at highway speeds? Steering? Is it light? There's a lot of questions. So one thing at a time. Suspension feels super solid in this vehicle. I feel comfortable taking it on long trips as well as doing any sort of off-road work, especially in this Pro-4X model. Even though you sit up high and it feels heavy, it corners extremely well. Steering is actually heavy, especially at low speeds, which I like. It feels very at home here in a truck. And for the seating position while driving, I feel super comfortable. I feel like I'm sitting up high, and it is comfortable with these leather seats with the Pro-4X embroidery. Pro-X Saha 0 to 60 times. So I guess I'll cut to that. Now there's no one behind me, so we're gonna do a 0 to 60, and I'm gonna do it first in rear wheel drive. It does have that rear locking differential, which I'm not gonna mess with right now. I'm gonna torque brake it to about 2,000 RPM and go. Oh, that was a great launch. These tires definitely stayed true. 7.98. I was going to be surprised. I had estimations earlier that it was going to be around 8 seconds, and 7.98 with rear wheel drive. I didn't feel any tire slippage or chirping at all. That was really impressive. I'm going to try it in all wheel drive, but I don't think I'm going to get much better results, if better at all. Hard on the brakes here, a little bit of nosedive, but that's okay. It's a highly set pickup truck. Switching it to 4 high here. We're going to torque brake it maybe 2,500 and go. Oh my gosh. This thing launches really well. 8.39. It's not as quick in four-wheel drive as it is in two-wheel drive, and maybe I just had better conditions back there earlier on the road. But yeah, that launch in two-wheel drive was really good. So don't think you need to have it in four-wheel drive for performance, but no one's buying this truck for performance. They're buying it for cool looks, practicality, and to have a pickup truck that can tow things and you can throw things in the bed as well. Blank asks, TFL reviewed this truck. Remember when the volume knob fell off during that review? Maybe try and adjusting the volume of the speakers. So I already mentioned that the volume knob in here feels like the cheapest thing in this vehicle. Same thing with the tuning knob. There's just no resistance. They move around a lot. Like, it looks like you have the same knobs down there to control the climate control, but I think they're actually a little bit stiffer. They have a better click feel to them. But yeah, the volume knobs are garbage. It doesn't surprise me that it fell off during a review. Noah Howens, any chance you could get your hands on the King Cab SV trim? And unfortunately, no. I'm victim and also lucky to get whatever Nissan sends me. So if their press fleet vehicle is a Pro-4X, then that's what I'm gonna drive. I know that the vast majority of vehicles sold under the Nissan badge are going to be much less expensive than this vehicle. Probably around the mid-30s is going to be your average pickup truck price. And then you also have the King Cab, which is the shortened version of this. You also have the long bed option, which this one does not have. So there are lots of configurations you can get. And I'm not going to go knocking around at dealerships. I don't want to work with dealerships. I've had enough working with dealerships in my salesman career. So if I were in the market for this truck, I would probably be happy with an SV crew cab 4x4 and not have all these extra trimmings that we have in this Pro-4X. But if you could get a Pro-4X with a good deal, I would snap it up. I mean, this truck looks absolutely amazing the way it's kitted out. Steven Alvarez, there will be a telescoping steering wheel in the future. I don't see it coming unless it's a refresh down the road. And two, if it has rear AC, well, it doesn't have rear AC, but these vents up front are very strong, like I mentioned earlier. American Dude, if it feels solid like a Toyota, yeah, I would say it feels more solid than the Toyota Tacoma. At least the most recent ones I've driven. Those vehicles feel very hollow, loud, and tinny. This feels much more tank-like, almost like the Lexus GX. Lex GX has way better sound control, especially from wind noise, but this kind of has that feel to it. Maybe a 4Runner would be a better comparison in terms of how it feels in here. I think it definitely has a step above the Tacoma in terms of build quality, at least the sturdiness that I feel in this vehicle. American Dude is also worried about the reliability. I would not be worried about the reliability. On the way out to this review site, I saw like 3 or 4 old Frontiers on the road just keep going. If you look for them, they're out there, and most of them are pretty old, but you can't really tell between an old one and a new one since the last generation stuck around for about 2 decades. The John Cheech, I could be ruining your name. Curious about how hard you got to rev it to get out of traffic. 3.5 Tacoma has decent power really high in the rev range. Maybe the 0.3 liter displacement makes up. Well, we know there is more torque and power in this 3.8 liter, and the 9-speed makes this very usable. It is very happy to downshift. It does what I want it to when it wants to. There's very little delay, and I really enjoy driving the 9-speed mated to this pretty stout 3.8 liter V6, and I think it's going to be a very reliable and proven combination for the Frontier going forward. So with this redesign, I think Nissan has hit a home run with it. I love the engine transmission. I love the towing capacity. I love the bed with the additional bars back there. It looks like it's taken straight from an Australian Ute magazine. The touchscreen in here is extremely functional. I love all the USB ports in here. I'm currently using 3 out of the 4 with all my cameras and phones. It's also powering my race meter here as well. I want to throw it in the corner one more time with the butterflies flying around. It just feels super planted in every single situation. And the build quality of this Frontier, I know some of you were a little bit hesitant. I'm telling you, the build quality, the fit and finish, at least from what I'm seeing in this Pro-4X model, is outstanding. The doors feel so solid and they're so satisfying when you open and close them. Yes, we do have a lot of hard touch throughout the cabin, but I don't hear any rattles or creaks or noises after over 8,000 miles on the clock in this vehicle. I love how Nissan offers a lot of different configurations with different beds, packages as well as cargo capacity for your passengers. It's also surprising we have a nice inverter in here to throw power through your bed, to throw power through the rear seats here. But there's no way I can answer all your questions about the Nissan Frontier. I only have one example, and this is the Pro-4X. I know the majority of you are not going to be buying a $45,000 Nissan Frontier, but if you do, this one is really, really good with all the technology, the features, the build quality, and the looks and the functionality and the off-road capability of the Pro-4X. It's just a complete package on this $45,000 build. But anyways, I gotta end the video. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more Nissan reviews. Nissan's back into the review cycle for me, and as well as press cycle, so I'm hoping to get to some Nissan events this year, like the Nissan Z. But I'm gonna end there. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you in the next one. Peace out.